McPixel.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Ferret 64 with me, your host, YemmytheFerret. I hope everyone's doing fantastic today, or this week. Hope you're having a good one. If you're not having a good one, I hope things do get better. This is, of course, the one-stop shop for video game news, occurrences, first impressions, reviews, etc., etc. And today we got a pretty nice show, pretty decently sized show, I think today. You know, every time I say that, usually it doesn't come true, but that's it. You know, what am I supposed to do? I can't predict how long a show is going to be unless I go to the future. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and talk about some video game news and occurrences today. I've been trying new settings on my microphone and stuff like that. The mic quality hasn't exactly been where I want it to be, which is weird. I'm having more struggles with this new mic than I did with any of the other ones before, which maybe I'll go back to an older mic and see if that sounds better with those. I don't know. I'm just struggling right now with it. Maybe it doesn't sound bad to you guys or whoever's listening. But there's things that I notice when I'm listening that I go, oh my god, please, why me, you know? But let's power through this episode. I'll try not to think about it too hard. And we're going to start off with the first part, which is, what have I been playing this past week? Sometimes you miss games in a year. Last year, a good amount of games came out. And of course, I played a whole lot of them. Last year, I think, was probably the most games that I've played in a year that I've played in a very, very long time. Of course, there was some years back in the old days when I literally bought everything that came out, so I don't think it topped those years. But it was pretty darn close. And even then, you do get some misses here and there. You miss a game here and there. And one of the games that I missed last year was a game called McPixel 3. Now, I saw this game at PAX last year when I went, and I didn't end up playing it for, I don't know, I guess for no reason really other than I just never got around to playing it. And it came out last year, I think in November or something like that. So, you know, during the packed month anyway. But essentially what this game is, it's a sequel to McPixel, which is a 2D pixel art puzzle game, essentially. It kind of plays like a WarioWare, where it's like a micro game inside of a game. But it's more of like a point-and-click puzzle game than a you know, WarioWare, you know, smooth moves or something like that, where you have to like solve a puzzle by doing different things. It's pretty much just always a point-and-click game. Sometimes other things happen. But essentially, McPixel 3 is a sequel, so there was no McPixel 2. So if you're looking for McPixel 2, that might come out after McPixel 3. I don't know. But McPixel 3 is essentially the same thing, where it's a pixel art 2D point-and-click puzzle adventure game. Of course, you can play it on like your Xbox or something like that. You know, it's not like you can't. And right now it is on Xbox Game Pass, which is the reason why I've played it now. I totally forgot about the game, and you know that's unfortunate because this one is it's a pretty fun time. I went into it kind of expecting like, oh, it's probably gonna be some stupid gags, you know, here and there, and it's probably not gonna really have a, you know, any cohesive story whatsoever, and blah 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 blah. And I'm kind of right about half of that, where there really isn't a cohesive story or reason for much of the things going on. But I was kind of wrong about it being a boring or, you know, just a couple funny gags here or there, because I think throughout the entire game, I was having a lot of fun. I was cracking up at some things. And essentially, so the point of the game is to find all the gags in a level. And each level ranges from like 20 to 30 seconds or something like that. Some of them go on for a bit longer if they're, more in depth, or there's also some that have multiple parts to them. Like you finish something in this part, and then you go to the next part, and you play around in that part. So essentially, it dumps this McPixel guy. He has a red shirt, he's got orange hair, blue eyes, and blue pants, and they just kind of dump you into different scenarios. So one of the first ones is you're on a speeding train that's going to fall off a cliff, and essentially you can rummage around the single car that you're in and try and find ways to either stop the train or escape what's going to happen. Now, McPixel himself, I don't know if that's actually his name, but the McPixel guy himself really doesn't have any morals. So, some solutions to problems are literally like throw the old man out the window and or kick the old lady across the street in order to get her to not get hit by a car, but you're still kicking her, across the street, right? Or there's other times where the answer is pretty obscure or obtuse. Oh, you have to, use the whoopee cushion to, whatever. There's a whole lot of different gags inside these levels. So the first like mini game, I guess I would call it, the first gag arena. You're in this train that's speeding down the tracks. You have a couple different things you can do, and the fun thing about the game is for every gag you find, you earn money. So the more gags you earn, the more gags you find, the more money you'll earn. You'll be able to buy your way into the next set of levels. Starts off pretty cheap and gets pretty expensive by the end of it. So you definitely want to be, really combing the desert for these different gags. And there is a way to replay levels infinitely to try and find all the gags, so that's not a problem. There are still some levels where I have not found the gags, and I just, for the life of me, cannot find them. I don't want to look them up because it kind of ruins the experience, but it's one of those things. It's like, wow, that there must be something really, really obtuse in here that I can't find. But anyway, essentially, you want to find the correct solution so you save the day, essentially, quote unquote, save the day. So whether that be throwing the bomb outside throwing a bomb outside of where you're at and it blows up somewhere else, that technically saves the day, or jumping out of a window and not being blown up, but everyone else inside the train gets blown up, It's a very amusing thing. It was very fun, very funny, I would say. And I liked most of it. I think for the most part it was pretty good. There was some stuff later on that I was like, oh well, we didn't really need this. I would, like there's like actual story, like quote unquote story stuff that happens. And it's like, we don't really need this. I would rather have had 5 more levels of like gags instead of, like 5 levels of like a story being told, because I don't think this game really needs that per se. And like the ending of the game is just defusing bombs, and it's just like the most basic thing that you can imagine, and it's just like, okay, could have done something way different here, and I think I would have been much more happy with that final product, And of course, not everything is gonna land, but I think for the most part, I think it's amusing to search through the different levels and see what you can find, and that's really the best part of the game so far. Is just, or was, I'm done with the game now, but that was the best part of the game, is searching through all these different levels and earning the money and moving on. And sometimes you find this Steve guy who has like, his levels are really easy because there's really no way to fail them, or not get through them. Essentially, his levels are just like, oh, you just click on everything in the level once and you get 100%, right? But they're funny things. Sometimes he'll be making a sandwich in a kitchen, and and you combine 2 items to make a sandwich. So there's like a knife and a bacon strip, or there's a knife and a chocolate, and you make a knife cake, or the bread and the fish, and you make a fish sandwich, which is a little bit more basic, but still, like, there's some funny stuff. There's like a washing machine that you have different cycles on, just funny stuff like that, fun, not funny stuff that's gonna make you roll on the floor laughing every single time, but maybe it'll put a smirk on your face, or maybe it'll make you smile a little bit, or maybe it will have an audible laugh to it. I don't know, but it's just a fun little game, And if you want to try it out, like I said, it's on Xbox Game Pass right now, so I think that it's the perfect time to try it out and play through it if you're interested. don't be dissuaded by the fact that it is a point and click game, because it's full of a lot of personality and a lot of charm, and there's a lot of different things you can do in this game. Every level has at least, I don't know, 5 or 6 different things to find, if not more, you know. So, and also checking all the things off your list is also pretty satisfying. There's like the stamper that comes around and stamps them, and the money shoots out of it, you know. Pretty fun visually. I do wish that I had played it last year, because it is a really fun game. Maybe not top 10 games worthy, but you know, it's still very good. I really enjoyed it. So make sure you check it out. You know, I think I would give it like a 5 out of I'm sorry, a 4 out of 5. So it's above average, good, you know, great even, you know. I don't know if I would play it again though. I feel like once you do it, you know, once you get the gags once, it's kind of like, okay, here we go. Also, I felt like some of the scenes kind of lasted way too long. There was one that was like, I remember all the icons were televisions, like little TVs, and there was one of those ones that was like this, like, it had to be at least a minute warm up to the level where, like, the people were like it was just like a cutscene, and I couldn't skip the cutscene for some reason. And the answer to the problem was a little bit obscure, so I kept having to rewatch it over and over again, and I got really annoyed and had to quit and come back to it and solve the problem after that, because I was getting annoyed at watching this 1 minute cutscene over and over and over again. So there are some things in there that really annoy me, but for the most part, it was fun. I enjoyed it, and if you want to check it out, McPixel 3, it's on Xbox Game Pass, or it's available everywhere else if you so desire. Maybe I should have played it on PlayStation, because I feel like if I had the incentive to get a platinum trophy, I might go for all the gags. I found I got I got a lot of stuff done though, so I feel like I did pretty good. But you know, there's always that nagging feeling of, oh, I should have gone for the 100%. Nah, I'm okay. I got what I wanted out of the game, and that's all. Next up, Exoprimal. Oh boy. So, Exoprimal, it's on Game Pass if you want to try it out. I would suggest trying it out before paying $70 for this, because I gotta say, backtrack. The game is a third-person mech suit fighting game where you fight hordes of dinosaurs. Essentially, the story is that you are a part of this group that gets sent back in time to fight the hordes of dinosaurs. But the dinosaurs are coming to you, too, because there's a rogue AI that is sending dinosaurs to the past, to the present past. How do I describe this? You get sent back in time to a present before the big destruction of the world, right? And the dinosaurs are getting sent to this time period where the destruction happens. In the future, which is actually the present, everything's kind of destroyed, and there's these storms of dinosaurs encompassing the areas. So what you do is you get into your mech suit, your suit, and you go and fight the hordes of dinosaurs as they deploy on the battlefield in the past and in the future. And you get sent to the past by the rogue AI to do some trials or something like that, or whatever. And there's a bunch of other people who also come along with you. So that's the base blind premise of the story. Essentially, you get sent back in time to a later time when things are still kind of like populated, and you need to actually defend people from dinosaurs. I don't know why yet, because obviously I'm still very early on in the game, and I don't even know if I care enough to even see it through, honestly. So my big problem with this game is that it's just so generic. It doesn't feel like anything. Nothing has weight to it, you know. Nothing it doesn't really feel good, you know. The one thing that you can say about Anthem is at least those robotic suits you were wearing had impact. The weapons had feel to them. The machine gun had a nice bap 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 to it, you know. The explosions were like boom, you know, like it was a lot. And in Exoprimal, it's so arcade-like that it just feels like a regular third-person shooter. Like, oh, I can fire off a grenade here, or I can use my machine gun, or you can switch mech suits to like the tank character and use it as like he has like a giant shield that you can use, like Reinhardt, There's a whole bunch of different mech suits that you can use, which is nice, and you can switch to them on the fly to kind of change things up. But honestly, like the main regular suit that most people are probably going to use is just such bare bones, like generic, and the other suits, I don't know, like the tank guy, he's okay, but he's I don't know, it's like nothing's impressing me right now. Nothing's jumping off the screen and saying whoa, I just like the whole spectacle is fighting the hordes of dinosaurs, right? Which is what kind of got me into that first trailer that they revealed. Oh my god, we're gonna fight T-Rexes and Triceratops and raptors, hordes of raptors. It's Left 4 Dead with dinosaurs, right? That could be fun. But what the game does is, instead of like going through these levels and killing said dinosaurs, you go from place to place and just do mission objectives. And the dinosaurs only appear at those mission objectives. And it's just so like bare bones, by the numbers, it's nothing, and it's nothing too special, honestly. And like, yeah, I'm sure that plenty of developers put their heart and love into this game. I understand that, but to me personally, playing it for the first time, I played for about 2 hours and said that is enough for me for a lifetime. Like it's just so bland. Like there's nothing going on in this game. And the fact that you need to team up with like 3 other random people if you don't have a full squad is super. It's like, oh my god, like you have AI in the prologue. Why can't you just have AI in the rest of the missions? Design some AI so I don't have to play with other people constantly. This is one of those games that, after that first season of content, it's probably gonna go off of everyone's radar. I don't think many people are gonna be talking about this game a week, let alone a month down the road. I feel like it is just such a thud of a release from Capcom, especially. It just really just isn't gripping me right now, and you could say like, oh, but it took a little while for you to warm up to Final Fantasy 16. That's true. It did take me a little while, but the world and the story kind of pulled me in from the get-go, even though I was feeling a little bit bored because there were so many cutscenes and not a lot of action. That's besides the point. In Exoprimal, they throw you into the action right away, and right away I was like, this is not it, dude. No matter which mech customize, I was using one of 3 mech suits to try and get myself into it. The assault mech suit, or whatever it's called, that has like a machine gun and a couple of rockets and stuff like that. It was whatever. It just felt like your regular Anthem kind of character. The tank guy with the giant shield, very melee focused. I was trying to use him, had maybe a little bit of fun here and there, but it was not like that great. And then I was also using that witch doctor one, which heals your allies and stuff like that. It doesn't really have any offensive capabilities, so like that was another like dud. Like, okay, the support character, most fun I've ever had. So I think the one thing that does make me sort of like the game is the fact that you can switch out your mech suits. Oops, sorry. The fact that you can switch around your mech suits mid-game is kind of cool. Like, in Anthem you can't do that. You gotta select your mech suit before going in. And Anthem is a whole nother level of broken that I don't want to relive. But at least Anthem had like this kind of sprawling open environment, had some really interesting enemy designs in there. Even though it wasn't like the best thing ever in a lot of different ways, like at least like the sound effects and the music, the open world was kind of all, it was all there, and it was all like, yeah, this could have been a lot better. But in Exoprimal, it just feels so bland and generic that it's like I can't really keep myself focused on this game for too long. I played 2 hours, and I'm like, wow, I think I've seen everything the game really has to offer. And of course, there is a story to kind of go along with. It's not like there's just random missions linked together. There is a bit of a story there. But if we were truly going along with this whole Left 4 Dead experience, you would kind of want to see the levels and stuff like that interwoven, together. Like the big bombastic set pieces are woven together with the, just kind of like fighting zombies through a hallway or an alley or something like that, And in this game, there's like no dinosaurs until you get to like the next big wave, you know? Like you go from one checkpoint to the next, and there's like hardly any, if any, dinosaurs in between those two sections. And it's like, why? Like, what are we doing here, you know? Why wouldn't you just have dinosaurs roaming around these different areas? I don't understand. And even though some of these checkpoints are close together, not saying that they're so far apart that you're just walking for miles without doing anything, but there is a part of me that's like, this should have been a lot more fun. Like, this should have been something that I could easily recommend to someone looking for a quick, fast fix on your action, you know, your third person action. But instead, I don't think I can recommend this game. It's just, even though it's available on Xbox Game Pass, and sure, you know, I would say check it out on Game Pass if you want to. But I just, you know, I would like, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Every single trailer that came out for this game, you know, after that first initial trailer, made me not want to play the game more and more and more. Because the more they showed off, the more I was kind of like, oh. And I think the icing, you know, the big cherry on top of this Exoprimal Sunday is the fact that there is a season pass, and you know it's supposed to be a live service game, and there's like 2 live service games that's actually currently like really, it just works, right? You know, whether it's good or not is up you know, it's debatable, but you know, Destiny 2 as a live service game has just worked for the past like 5 years at this point, right? Fortnite live service game, one of the most popular free to play battle royales out there. You know, some would say you know, Apex Legends, a live service game. It's very, very popular. Rocket League, another live service game that's free to play, has been very popular for years and years and years. That's 4 games that I mentioned out of the like, I would say hundreds, not thousands, hundreds that have come out in the past couple of years here. You know, so trying to dip your toe into that, like a lot of companies have tried, including Microsoft themselves with Redfall. They tried to make that a live service game. Exoprimal now is just another one of those games that's on the list that's like, okay, it's not going to be around for long, so get your fix in now before it's gone, you know? And as much as I loved playing Crash Bash, I mean, I can already admit, like, yeah, the player base is already, like, halved or more in the past, like, couple of weeks since that's launch, and that's actually a really fun game, you know? And Exoprimal, I mean, right now, it's probably got a good amount of numbers because of the fact that it's launching on Xbox Game Pass, but I don't know if they'll be able to keep those numbers up because I just feel like the game is just kind of like a bland, boring experience. And I know I keep saying that over and over again, but it's just true. It's just true. I can't emphasize this enough. Just going through the tutorial, just go through the tutorial and tell me that this game has any sort of charm or anything with it. On top of that, the cutscenes and the character interactions, really poorly written, kind of badly acted at times. Also, just kind of cringe here and there too. And all that together kind of makes me not want to play the game anymore. If I do end up playing it more, it's probably going to be out of spite, just to see if I can find any glimmer of hope for this game. But as of right now, with my limited amount of playtime, I cannot tell you to play the game, or I cannot recommend the game. But I will say, if you want to play the game, at least play it on Xbox Game Pass, just so you don't have to spend $70 on a game that you might play a couple of hours of and be like, wow, this is not that great, you know. So you can take it from me, or you can leave it. Either way, you choose what's best for you. I've been playing a lot more Dave the Diver, and I know I was singing the high praises last time that I talked about this game, and yeah, that just kind of continues. There's been more and more adding on to this game that has really made me interested in continuing playing it, you know. And you know, the base of the game is that fishing and the restaurant management, right? But there's a lot more going on, you know, under the sea, which has been really exciting to me. You know, like, yeah, there are some frustrating moments where, you know, you take on a shark and it kicks your ass for some reason and you lose all your items, you know. And that does hurt. It does hurt. But I've been making pretty steady progress in this game. I've been really interested in playing more of the game because it is, in general, just a really fun little management game, you know. And I compared it to Dredge last time, And that's not really the best comparison per se, because they are two definitely different kind of fishing games. Dredge, you're on a boat and you're fishing under, you're just kind of like fishing from a boat, and weird things are happening. Dave the Diver, you're actually underwater, you're swimming around, you have your harpoon gun, you're actually shooting that fish underwater, and trying to defend yourself from bigger predators. And actually, you want to get those bigger predators because the people who eat your food are going to pay more for the harder targets to take down, or the more elusive targets, right? So you kind of it kind of incentivizes you to take out those bigger enemies. Um, so yeah, I mean, I've just been having a good time. You don't even have to really go for the objectives if you don't want to. The main story points will give you more options, though. While you're underwater, they'll grant you lots of money too. So there is a reason to do those. But if you don't want to, I mean, you could just chill out and just work on your restaurant and forget about the story elements, I suppose. But it's been a really fun kind of like management game. And really, I'm not that big into management games, but once again, we have a roguelite with a unique art style. Not really, maybe not unique, but it's like a pixel art, very beautiful pixel art style that has a management system hooked into it. And just like Call to the Lamb, it is really engaging and it's really fun to go underwater and battle some sharks or whatever, collect the fish, find some treasures, et cetera, and then go up on land and work on your restaurant and build it up and make it look better inside and hire staff and make and acquire new dishes and stuff like that. It's one of those things it's really been a really fun time, and I definitely would recommend this game to people who like those kind of management games. It's a roguelite in the sense that if you die underwater or if you run out of oxygen, it just kind of resets you later in the day, and you got to pick up from there. It's not like Dave dies and you have to start from square one. It's not like, it's a bit of a forgiving roguelite, almost like how Cult of Lamb is a bit forgiving in a lot of ways. But Cult of Lamb does they do put on the pressure if you die, so it's not like it's completely forgiving. But Dave the Diver does seem pretty forgiving, all things considered. You just need to worry about, like, have I collected enough fish to actually open the restaurant tonight? That's the kind of thing that you need to worry about. You gotta make some money so that you can upgrade your equipment and go deeper and have more damage on your harpoon gun and stuff like that. And of course, as you're underwater, you gotta find like resources as well to upgrade your, your regular guns and sell stuff to the shop and all those different things. And one of the best parts of the game is when you do upgrade something or make a new dish. There's these beautiful cutscenes that happen that are very Studio Ghibli-esque, where the chef is cooking the dish or a dish. And it's just so stylized, or there's the one guy who builds guns for you, and there's like this really anime-esque, montage of him putting the gun together and stuff. It's just all very, very well done, and it's just one of those games that's probably going to be a bit of an indie gem this year. And I said last time that I kind of preferred Dredge over this game. I think they're really on the same level at this point because Dave the Diver has so much going on, and Dredge, even though I really, really enjoyed that game, don't get me wrong, really, really enjoyed that game, it doesn't have as much going on as Dave the Diver does right now. Dredge, you fish, you do some missions, you return for the night if you want to, I think that Dredge is much more stylistic and much more intense, but Dave the Diver has a different style, and it has a different gameplay style that just suits it really well. And I think that everything's kind of coming together pretty well. There is a lot, so you gotta like keep in mind all the different aspects of the game, but in general, I think that it's a perfectly fine example of how to meld two different genres together and make something really cohesive and really interesting. So if you want to check it out, Dave the Diver, I believe it's available on Steam and only Steam right now, but I could be wrong about that. You should definitely check it out, though, if you like what you heard, and if you want a more extensive look into it, there is another episode where I actually went fully into Dave the Diver, so if you want to check that out, that was a few weeks ago. Let's talk about some games we streamed this past week. As you know, we're playing through PlayStation Plus games all through July, June, and July. So we're about halfway through July already, and We're on game number 12 right now, which is Star Wars Squadrons. So we'll probably finish that up on Monday, I'm guessing. We'll see. But we finished 2 more games after Typewriter. Aru's Awakening, which is honestly one of the worst games I've ever experienced. Like, the graphics are nice. Sure, it's got a unique art style, but that's not enough to hold it up with its terrible control scheme, annoying platforming, bizarre physics, terrible, terrible designs of levels and boss fights. Like, it's one of those games that you play and you wonder why you're a fan of gaming, you know? It's one of those games, it's like, I really cannot... I would not wish this game onto my worst enemy. You know, I would not wish this game onto the person disliking my YouTube videos in bulk. You know, like, I don't want to see anyone play this game. And you could tell that there was this weird passion behind this game from the developers. Like, they definitely worked on something that they were passionate about. They wanted to tell the story of Aru, you know? And I'm like, well, just keep it to the books then, because this was actually abysmal. You know, like, this was actually just like a really unfun, awkward, just really dumb time. And I'm sure this game has its fans out there, I'm sure, and that's fine, you know, but I'm just saying, from my perspective and my experience with the game, I was genuinely just angry at it most of the time, and I just really hated everything that was going on. And the control scheme just sucks. It really fucking does. How can I even describe it? The jump, you press L1, which is just really dumb, and then you control yourself with left stick, but then your right stick also controls where you're aiming at all times, and that just is like, oh my god, like, it was just such an annoying control scheme. Press R1 to shoot a little teleportation orb. You press R2 to teleport to it. You can only kill enemies by teleporting exactly into the middle of them. Yeah, it was just really fucking annoying, and it was really, really just like a bad experience. 1 out of 10. Like, not a 1 out of 10, but 1 out of 5, which probably is about the same, but not good. Not good at all. The only thing that has going for it is the style, the graphic style. I think that the visuals were pretty nice, but everything else was just abysmal and bad. Luckily, though, after that, we played another 2D platformer, which was Hue, which revived my love for gaming. Maybe I rated it higher in my mind because of the fact that we just played 2 F-tier games in a row with Typewriter and Aru's Awakening. But I really enjoyed what this game was doing. It's a puzzle game, 2D puzzle game, where you use colors to solve problems. You have a color wheel that you slowly acquire new colors for. Well, not slowly, but you moderately, at a moderate speed, you acquire new colors to deal with the puzzles. And, you know, depending on what color you have selected, those objects in the world that are that color will disappear, allowing you to get around them or move things around them. You know, like, let's say there's a laser beam that'll kill you. You can, and it's blue. You can change your color wheel to blue, and you can walk through it. You know, and by the end of it, it was really getting complicated. And I do wish the game was a little bit longer. I feel like that's my main issue. Is like, they really could have gone a little bit farther with some of these concepts, especially because the more and more they added to the game, the more interesting that things were getting. You know, by the end of it, you know, you had falling, you know, rubble and skulls, and you had lasers, and you had boxes, and you had these other ones that would change color, these other boxes that would change color every time you stepped on them. And then they introduced like these color geysers that would change objects to the color that they were spraying out, you know, and that was really cool. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually like, this is actually really getting interesting. And, you know, it does end at a nice spot. Like, it's not like it just abruptly ends, but I would have liked this scene maybe more, you know, maybe a little bit more done, you know, with the concept, because in totality, you know, the first like half of the game is just finding all the colors and getting all the colors together, and the second half of the game is using all those colors to your advantage and working around these puzzles. And that second half of the game was much more engaging than the first half. The first half was more like exploratory, like, oh, this is interesting. The second half was more like, oh, this is getting intense. This is getting, you know, this is getting your brain in a twist, you know. So I definitely would recommend checking out Hue. It's been free on a couple different platforms, including Steam and Epic Game Store. If you didn't pick it up then, I'm sure it'll be on sale, or it's on sale, relatively recent, whatever. I would definitely recommend picking it up and trying it out. I think that it's a really fun time. I think it's a really good puzzle platformer. And yeah, I gave it an 8 here. I thought it was really, really good. I definitely would play it again down the road. And right now we're playing Star Wars Squadrons. I would have respun the wheel if I had gotten another 2D platformer, because we just played so many of those in a row. I was like, oh my god, I'm kind of done with 2D platformers right now. I've had my fill at this point. So when Star Wars Squadrons was landed on, I'm like, yes, a new game, something that's not 2D platformer. I'm interested in playing this. So far the game has been kind of like, it's fine. There's nothing really too crazy about it. Every level kind of plays out the same at this point, but at least it's engaging, and it's kind of fun here and there. And like I said, we'll probably finish that on Monday. If not Monday, we'll finish it on Wednesday. So yeah, tune in if you want to check that out on Monday on the Twitch channel. Okay, let's go ahead and move over to the next part of the show, which is what was announced at that game showcase. Limited Run Games had their showcase this past week, and it was pretty good. I felt like it was a good time. They had like this like we gotta save E3 kind of thing going on. So they had like this Back to the Future hoot nanny, that they were doing. So the website that I'm on right now does not have these games in order. I don't know why it's so difficult to do that, but it was the only one that was comprehensive and not biased, like not including like different things. So even though I really like when companies do that, I just wish that they had put them in order. That's all I'm asking for. So this is not in order, but I'm going to talk about all the little things that they showed off. Now, not every game is new. So forgive me if I don't, if I accidentally say that for a game that's already been revealed. I'll try and do my best. So there was a game called Another Crusade that was shown off. This is inspired by Mario RPG of all games. Essentially, you play as like this wooden puppet, or the world is like a wooden puppet style world where you explore and do turn-based battles. With old school RPG elements in there, with timing and strategy are, of course, paramount. Like I said, it was inspired by Super Mario RPG, so you can kind of know what to expect when watching this trailer. Limited Run Games is launching a digital and physical pre-order later this year, so there's no release date yet, but even like the cover art or like the final screen of the game, of the trailer, looks like the Mario RPG trailer, where you have the characters kind of standing there next to whatever, So it looks kind of quirky. It looks kind of fun. If you want to check that out, all these trailers are on Limited Run Games' YouTube channel. Arzette, the Jewel of Faramore. This is a spiritual successor to the infamous Zelda CDI games. Now, when they originally mentioned the Zelda CDI games, I kind of got wide-eyed and went, whoa, they're not actually re-releasing those, are they? And no, they aren't. But this is inspired by the CDI era Zelda games. So the cutscenes are all like these,
it's up to Princess Arzette to defeat him.
Poorly voice acted, kind of like
this new interactive animated
like
adventure, Arzette must explore
the
the
gameplay
kingdom
itself
of
is like a
Faramore.
pixel adventure, side-scrolling adventure where you just kind of you fight different enemies, pick up
secrets,
jewels and stuff like that, go through different
assist
puzzles and all that. It looks very charming. I gotta say, like, they definitely nailed the CDI aesthetic, I should say.
And talent from previous interactive
it actually
adventures.
features some voice actors from those Zelda CDI days, so they're definitely keeping that alive.
Soon to your
this has got to be like the first like Zelda CDI inspired game that's come out. I can't think of any other ones right now off the top of my head, but that's pretty funny. We're finally getting a CDI inspired game, and it's only taken I don't know, 20, 30 years. This is coming in 2023. Castlevania Advanced Collection is coming to physical storefronts. There will be 4 color covers to choose from, so you can pick your favorite. This collection includes Castlevania, Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, and Aria of Sorrow, with the SNES version of Dracula X included as a bonus. Pre-orders are going to go live on the 28th of July, and the official pricing is about $35. Chicory, Colorful Tale is getting a physical edition finally. This game came out a couple years ago, I think, at this point. It's getting a PS5, PS4, and a Switch version. If you want to check that out, nothing new there. Here was a big one, Clock Tower. This is a old Famicom classic where you play as this girl locked inside of a tower, a clock tower, as you would say. And it has the weird scissor man following her around, who is trying to kill her, kind of like any other horror game that you might know of. So this is actually like a remaster of the Clock Tower game, and it will be coming out in 2024. I know that they announced like some cool stuff. Obviously this is the first time it's been translated into English, so that's a big thing. But they also did some quality of life improvements, and I think they have some like behind the scenes stuff as well on the cartridge as well. So if you want to check that out, it looks very interesting. I've heard of this game before, but obviously since it was like a Famicom exclusive, it's not like I'm going to understand anything that's going on if I was to play it. But I know that game has a lot of fans. So Clock Tower remastered coming 2024. Colossal Cave is a retro point-and-click cave exploration puzzler. Woo, who would have known? It's getting physical editions coming soon on Limited Run Games. So if you want to check that out, there you go. It's kind of like a. It's like a. I don't even know how to explain it, honestly. I've never played it, so I don't have a lot to say. But Colossal Cave, there you go. All right, Double Shake. Grab, shake, and throw and kick to save your island from total chaos in an action-packed blast of the past inspired by Tomba, Klonoa, and other PS1-inspired platforms. This definitely is more inspired by Klonoa, in my opinion. Just looking at the gameplay itself, it's very PS1-inspired, sure, but it's also very Klonoa-inspired. It has like these 3D environments that you kind of like loop around. You throw enemies and objects at things to kill them and platform and stuff like that. Lots of quick characters and stuff like that too. So it looks very fun. If you want to check that out, it's going to be coming physically and digitally next year. So yeah, looks like a pretty fun game. Double Shake. Dungeons of Aether. Uncover the mysteries of the Yule's Val Cavern in this dungeon crawler set in the Rivals of Aether universe. The physical edition of this game is coming to limited run this week on July 14th through August 13th. You can pre-order on the Switch Friday. This comes with a add-on digital soundtrack as well, so kind of neat. El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron. It's an ever-changing, endless visual experience. El Shaddai, Ascension of the Metatron HD is getting a Switch release from Limited Run Games. Stay tuned for more info. I don't remember what this one was. I'm going to be very honest. Gargoyles is also getting its remaster physically in fall of 2023. Pretty much coming to everything under the sun. Gargoyles Remastered is getting a physical release from Limited Run Games this fall. Stay tuned for more information. Which is pretty exciting. Gargoyles is one of those Nintendo games that I never, or those Disney games that I'd never played, but I heard good things about, so I will definitely be trying that out. The last reveal of the show was Gex Trilogy. Obviously, this is not the last part of the show, but the last thing that they revealed was Gex Trilogy, and I just about lost my damn mind. Look, I have a Gex game. I really enjoyed what I played, but my disc was scratched and I couldn't get past like the first
Affecting someone else
because it was scratched, and that was unfortunate. And I would love to play these Gex games in a new form. And yes, here we go. We're getting the '90s platforming mascot Gex in a remastered trilogy of games. So you're going to get Gex from 1995, Gex Enter the Gecko, and Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko. And this will run on Limited Run's Carbon Engine, a development tool that allows legacy content to be ported to modern platforms. There's no release date yet or price details. Of course, I'll let you guys know when that comes around. Also, there was the Jurassic Park Classic Games Collection, which I already talked about before, but it's officially got a reveal and announcement now rather than just a leaked photo of the prehistoric edition, which I already talked about. This comes with the Jurassic Park game and Jurassic Park 2 The Chaos Continues, released across the NES, SNES, and Game Boy versions. Physical versions of the games will come in 3 different varieties: standard, classic, and prehistory editions. Pre-orders will be open on the 1st of September and are available until the 15th of October. Each edition will contain a physical copy of the game. The classic edition will have a steelbook and packaging inspired by the original Jurassic Park VHS case. And the prehistoric edition, which is $180, will have all of that plus a replica of Dr. Alan Grant's ID card inspired by the Jurassic Park game, physical soundtrack CD, mini replicas of the original Jurassic Park NES, Game Boy, and SNES cartridges for display, and packaging inspired by Jurassic Park toys, classic Jurassic Park toys. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty fun little classic collection. I'm definitely not getting anything above the standard edition. But I've been very interested in the history of Jurassic Park video games. The only Jurassic Park game I've played is that Telltale one that came out not too long ago. Well, actually, that was actually early PS3 era, so it was a while ago at this point. That one kind of stunk, but it will be interesting to try out some of these other older Jurassic Park games. The making of Karateka. This is an interactive documentary about one of the first martial arts games ever made, plus 4 versions of the classic are included as well. So it seems like a part history tool and part actual gaming experience. If you want to check that out, that'll be available eventually. They don't have any details on when it's coming, but it looks very interesting. Kamoju Remelia Scarlet Symphony is an action side-scroller based on the world-famous Tochu project. This game comes back with a modern upgrade, including remastered graphics and tons of bonus content coming soon to limited run games. I think graphically it looks really cool. You know, it kind of looks like that Survivor album with the tiger on it, you know, the Eye of the Tiger. Yeah, there's it's a very interesting visual style. It's a top-down bullet hell kind of game. I think it also has some 2D beat-em-up sections as well. So a very interesting game to be, coming out or porting over. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Looks kind of fun. Midnight Fight Express is getting its own physical release. Not sure when that's coming. They just kind of announced it. It will not be getting an Xbox version, funny enough, even though it launched on Xbox Game Pass. Midnight Fight Express was okay. I didn't really latch onto it, though. I thought it was kind of weird, but yeah, whatever. Odin Cat's Paradise Collection. This is a Bears Restaurant and Fishing Paradiso. Those are the 2 games that are available in this collection. They're both available to pre-order now. You can reserve your copy or CD bundle today. Essentially, those are 2 management games, essentially, where you help people and animals eat or whatever. One of them is definitely with the help of a mystical gadget known as the Skyphone, life after death couldn't be more convenient. With the push of a button, our hero can teleport between the game's various fishing spots, upgrade his rod, review his fish collection, and even keep in touch with the many denizens of the afterlife he encounters on his adventure. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. And then the other game, the Bears whatever, by forging relationships with these characters, players can unlock little scenes and side stories for each addition to the main plot, with more than 20 different characters to befriend, ranging from an anthropomorphic cat to a flirtatious lumberjack. There you go. Okay, Plumbers Don't Wear Ties Definitive Edition. So this is an FMV game it seems like a very early on FMV game. And essentially this is kind of like a, it's got a lot of behind the scenes stuff along with the actual game itself. So, yeah, this is an interesting one. I don't even know how to describe it. It's an FMV game where you like, I don't even know. It's just such a weird game. I can't even describe what this game is. It's like it's about like a plumber and a woman. I don't even know. Apparently the game that looks nicer, so they've remastered like the visuals and stuff like that. If you want to check out the trailer, I would suggest doing that instead of listening to me ramble. Okay, next up, Rise of the Triad Ludicrous Edition. The hunt returns again, and this time it's physical. Physical editions of Rise of the Triad Ludicrous Edition are coming to limited run games. There will be more details revealed later. This is like a Wolfenstein inspired first person shooter, old style, like, you know, back in the day, kind of like Doom, Quake style, you know. So yeah, this looks kind of cool. This is a 1995 classic FPS getting a re-release on Switch with a bunch of new features and improvements. Yeah, it looks kind of cool. Looks kind of charming as well, if you want to check that out. There'll also be a digital launch with that as well. Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 Complete Edition is getting a physical version. Stay tuned for more information about that. I wish it was the first two games getting a re-release on different platforms. But we gotta settle for Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, which is probably the easiest one to port over out of all the older Roller Coaster Tycoon games. But I'm hoping for the day that someone snags someone puts Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 and 2. Give them a re-release on modern platforms that actually runs, you know, because you can play the old version of the game, but it runs like it crashes constantly and stuff like that because of the newer hardware. I just want the old Roller Coaster Tycoon games. The Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 is still like one of my favorite games of all time, and we can't get a re-release of that. But Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, it's everywhere and it runs fine. It's just so annoying to me personally, but I'm a patient man, and I will wait. Rose and Camellia. This is a Punch-Out inspired remake of a 2007 Flash game. So essentially what you do is you are the matriarch of a household, and to achieve this you need to engage in slap battles with other female opponents. So it's essentially a punch-out, slap your foes into submission kind of game. Looks kind of funny. I didn't know that it was a Flash game, but you know, I guess I can see it. You know, it doesn't look bad by any means, and it looks kind of funny. So I definitely would recommend checking out the trailer. And it looks like you use the motion controls of the Switch to actually physically slap your opponent. Kind of funny, not gonna lie. All right, Shantae Advance, Risky Revolution. This is an unreleased Shantae game that was supposed to come out during the Game Boy Advance era, and essentially they have found the files and they've continued development on it, and they are officially releasing the game, which is kind of crazy. You know, this is an unreleased Shantae game that explains some of the characters who just kind of show up in the next one, and they already know Shantae. So Risky Revolution, I believe they said it was coming in 2024, I believe. And you can, of course, get the physical editions of the game. I believe they are also releasing a Game Boy cartridge for it as well, which is kind of cool. Love to see that. So if you want to check that out, check out that trailer. Tomba is getting a Nintendo Switch release now, a physical release as well. The trailer was just an animated opening to the game. I believe it's a Tomba collection. I don't know exactly what games are included in this. It seems like I mean, if it's only one game, that doesn't really make for a collection, does it? But maybe it is just the Tomba game. I don't know. This was released on PS1. It's coming to Switch. Not sure when, but it's coming. This Way is Madness. This is the final thing we're going to talk about today. Let us begin our tale in the quiet city of Verona, Italy, a town for lovers and giant mutant flower attacks. So yeah, I think this was I don't remember seeing this, or maybe I exited out of my mind. It's kind of like a Final Fantasy inspired game, pixel art inspired game. And there's a lot of anime characters and stuff like that. Probably going to be an okay adventure for people who enjoy these kind of games. This will be available digital on July 25th. Stay tuned for physical information and PS5 release. So there you go. That's everything that was announced at the Limited Run Games Showcase. Pretty good showcase altogether. I wasn't expecting anything too super big. I am disappointed that Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 is getting a physical edition and a re-release, and not Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 or 2. It's just kind of that's just me, you know? I feel like those deserve a re-release as well, but everything else is fine. I would give it an A minus maybe. I know there's a lot of people who have unrealistic expectations for these kind of things, and I don't know where they're getting those things from, and some people base their entire love of a showcase around one game that either got revealed or didn't get revealed, and that's just not how you do this. That's not how it works. Not everything is revolving around you or the game that you want. So even though I didn't get Roller Coaster Tycoon 1 re-release, I can still say I'm happy with everything they showed off, and I think that it was a pretty good showcase altogether. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to what's in the news. All right, the FTC, America's Trade Commission, has... Well, essentially, the judge has told the FTC to shut the fuck up about the acquisition. So after initially denying Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, it went to court, and the judge found that the FTC should stand down and allow it to go through, and so that is essentially what happened. And now they officially cannot, like, the FTC can officially not, like, try and file again, or they have like I don't know what any of this means. They have an injunction against Microsoft, so I guess they can't file a lawsuit or anything again about this in the near future. So that essentially allows Microsoft to acquire Activision Blizzard in the U.S. Of course, they still need to overturn the block in the U.K. and I believe Canada still. And I'm sure there's some other countries out there that they'll need to convince as well. So it seems like their wah wah boo boo cry cry story actually worked, and now they're one step closer, and one giant leap closer, I should say, in essentially acquiring Activision Blizzard at this point. And you know, the last time I talked about this, I was like, fuck it, don't let them get it then. You know, like with what they were saying. But you know, I understand, and I still understand. I understood, and I still understand that a lot of the stuff that they're saying, a lot of the numbers that they're bringing up are just because they need to be like, oh, we actually don't have a lot of stake, and oh, PlayStations, they're so big and we can't stop them. And of course they ignore Nintendo and Nintendo Switch because technically that's a handheld. That's not a console. That's a handheld. Ah, bullshit. But I will say this, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I'm really jumbled and really kind of torn about this whole thing, because even though I would like to see classic games getting reborn, you know, Crash Bandicoot coming back full time, Spyro coming back, you know, Guitar Hero coming back, I would love to see that stuff that Microsoft has promised to do, and putting teams back on games that they want to work on, you know, and not just being hooked on, you know, Warzone and stuff like that. I want to see that stuff, but then again, at the same time, I also don't want Microsoft to own all these companies, because we've seen what happened with BioWare and what happened with Redfall, and I don't want that to happen to the collection of Activision games that I actually still really enjoy and still want to see more of, you know? So either Microsoft is going to have to really switch their gears and start producing better content and making things better at these companies, or just fuck it and block them. I don't know. Yeah, but like I said, it's one of those things. This is one giant leap towards the next step, which is now convincing or getting the UK version of this overturned. And I do believe that there's still a few other countries in there that'll need to be that'll need to be overturned as well. So yeah, so there you go. Okay, let's move on. The Last of Us TV series has been handed 24 nominations at the Emmys. The Emmys are going to take place across the 9th and 10th of September. This is pretty much an award show for TV and stuff like that, so it's not like movie. I guess there's some TV movies in there, like Weird by Weird Al Yankovic and stuff like that, but essentially this is TV and streaming, shows and series and stuff like that. So they were handed nominations for Best Drama Series, Best Lead Actor in a Drama Series for Pedro Pascal, Best Lead Actress in a Drama Series for Bella Ramsey, Outstanding Production Design for a Narrative Contemporary Program, Outstanding Casting for a Drama Series, Best Guest Actor for Murray Bartlett, Lamar Johnson, Nick Offerman, and Kevon Montreal Woodward. Guest Actress in a series, Milena Lenski, Storm Reed, Anna Torv. And finally, Outstanding Contemporary Costumes for a Series. So there's a lot of these that I think they could win. I think they could win Best Drama Series. I think they could win Best Actor and Actress, Outstanding Production and Casting, Guest Series for Nick Offerman, Guest Actress for any of these really, probably Anna Torv really. Outstanding Contemporary Costumes as well. I think that this is like one of the best adaptations of video games so far for sure. And they've already greenlit the second season, so we'll see what they do with that. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this. I think that they're definitely going to win a couple of awards here. Maybe not all of them. I mean, they got to go up against Succession and The White Lotus, which also scooped up a bunch of nominees as well, or nominations for stuff as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But nice that they got so much recognition for this. And another Last of Us news: the composer for Last of Us teased that there might be a new version of the game coming out. Gustavo Santaolalla was talking to in a Spanish interview about what projects he has going on and stuff like that. And he went on to say that in the new versions of the game, you'll be able to play. You'll be able to ask him to play certain themes, and he can't say anything else. So he was asked about his part in The Last of Us Part 2, where you can actually see him playing the banjo at the beginning of the game. But essentially, he's kind of confirmed that you'll be able to request songs from him in the new version of the game. Of course, he signed an NDA, so he's not able to say anything else. So this would heavily imply that Naughty Dog or a company adjacent to them is currently working on an updated version of the game, whether it's a full-on remaster like Last of Us Part 1, or if it's just a updated re-release, or a big update for PS5. That's yet to be seen so far. So right now, it's a bit vague. We're not. I mean, who knows exactly what he's talking about? Maybe it's a re-release or an update that they've added this in with a little Easter egg in there for him, or whatever, making his cameo interactive with an update or something like that. Or maybe it will be a native PS5 version with a bunch of updates and stuff like that. Who knows? Will they call it Last of Us Part 2 Remastered? I don't think so, but I think it would be nice to see a native PS5 version. Even though the PS4 version ran really well, somehow looked visually stunning somehow on a PS4. I was playing on the OG PS4, and I was like, wow, this looks incredible. It's one of the reasons why it won Game of the Year for me, next to the narrative. The only thing that I didn't like about Last of Us Part 2 was the structure of the narrative and how they put things in there. And I could see a perfect video game if they just took parts that they had interlaced throughout the story and put them at the beginning. Put them all at the beginning of the game, so you get to know both of these characters even more. Why wouldn't they put the Abby stuff at the beginning of this game to kind of build up to the moment that happens at the beginning of The Last of Us Part 2? I mean, I understand you need to start with Ellie and stuff like that, but maybe have their stories interlaced. Have the past stuff happen at the beginning of the game instead of it being interlaced in the middle of it. I think that if they had done that, people would have been much happier with the game, in all honesty. But for me personally, it was not enough to make me hate the game. I still love the experience and love the game itself, and I do need to replay it eventually down the road. I definitely will. Let's move on. The Black Panther game has been confirmed from EA, the Cliffhanger Games team. This is a new EA team called Cliffhanger Games. So The team is called Cliffhanger Games and is based in Seattle, led by the former VP and studio head of Monolith Productions, famous for their work on Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, Kevin Stevens. Working closely with Marvel Games, the studio has recruited veterans from the God of War and Halo series as well to help out. So this does not mean that they'll be able to put in the Nemesis system into the game. I was really kind of excited that the Monolith Productions head could maybe sneak that in there. I don't think so, though. And fuck WB Games for being the ones who copyrighted that or whatever, patented that. That's just such bullshit. And since, I mean, we haven't got another Nemesis system like Shadow of War or anything like that ever again because of this. That's so annoying. That's so stupid. But I digress. Speaking to GameIndustry.biz, Kevin stated, "We want our game to enable players to feel what it's like to be worthy of the Black Panther mantle in unique, story-driven ways, and we want cliffhanger games to empower everyone on our team as we collaborate and bring this amazing world to life. The game is, of course, early in development, so we probably won't see anything about it for quite some time, but the team is working towards an experience." The team has been working towards an experienced team with diverse voices and perspectives. I'm not sure what that means. So yeah, there's been really nothing else announced about the game yet, other than that it is in production. It has a new EA team underneath its wings, and yeah, probably will be kind of interesting. So we'll wait to hear more about that, probably in the far future, kind of like how Wolverine was announced, and we haven't really heard anything about that either from PlayStation. Major Nelson has announced his departure from Xbox after 20 years on the job. Anyone who had an Xbox 360 back in the day will recognize the username and his face. He ran a bunch of like news and stuff like that on the Xbox itself, and he's been an integral part to the Xbox community for quite some time. His real name is Larry Herb, and in a video message, he thanked the millions of gamers around the world who have included him as part of their lives. "After 20 incredible years, I've decided to take a step back and work on the next chapter of my career. As I take a moment to think about all that we have done together, I wanted to thank the millions of gamers around the world who have included me as a part of their lives. Also, thanks to Xbox team members for trusting me to have a direct dialogue with our customers. The future is bright for Xbox as a gamer, and I'm excited to see its evolution." So essentially, Phil Spencer has kind of taken over the role of Major Nelson. I know Major Nelson has kind of popped up here and there, every so often. But during the 360 and partially into the Xbox One era, he was like the face of Xbox. You saw him on your dashboard. You saw his avatar all over the place. He ran through news and new releases and stuff like that. Very genuine kind of guy from what I could tell. Yeah, so he was a massive part in promoting the Xbox brand over the years and stuff like that. He ran the official Xbox podcast on YouTube. So Phil Spencer, he took to Twitter and said, "Larry, it's been an awesome time to work alongside you on this journey. Thank you for being a friend and for everything you've done for the Xbox community and team." So there you go. So yeah, kind of a sad departure, but I mean, I understand wanting to kind of do something different after 20 years of working at the same place, So we'll see where he ends up next, whether it be just kind of running his own stuff or working with another studio or another company. We'll have to wait and see. Stranded Deep on the PS4/PS5 inadvertently has caused a platinum trophy extravaganza. In a update that happened to the game about a month ago, it allowed people who already had trophies acquired in the game to open up a custom island and literally directly give these trophies to other players. Now, give in quotation marks because it's essentially just unlocking them for the other person. So people with the platinum trophy can open an island. You can search their username, join their island, and just acquire the platinum trophy in a matter of seconds. So the story begins on PSN profiles where people started to find out about the Platinum Trophy and how the game essentially is broken with the latest update. Now, the recent update was about a month ago was the most recent update. So apparently this has gone unnoticed for quite some time. And now, just now in the past week, this has become a bit of a thing. Now, of course, inside the trophy hunting community, there's a lot of things that are no-nos, like, editing your profile timestamps and unlocking things through unconventional means and stuff like that. So this has actually been a hot debate inside the platinum community, as should this be a legitimate platinum? And I guess the underlying thing is, it is technically legitimate since it's something that the game is allowing you to do. Now, to me personally, like, if you want to do this, sure, go ahead. I'm not going to be angry about it. But to me personally, this is just kind of like a cop-out. Like, oh, this is an easy platinum. The regular platinum list is probably pretty extensive and actually pretty difficult. And I feel like, that just having this ability to kind of just automatically get the platinum trophy kind of negates all the hard work that a lot of people have put into the game to get the platinum trophy legitimately. And personally, I would say that this is not a legitimate way to get the trophies. It's not you earning the platinums. And yes, technically the game is allowing you to unlock the platinum trophies, but it's kind of like the Jak and Daxter Precursor Legacy release on PS4 where you could go inside the GUI and unlock all the trophies. Like, is that really a part of the game, Is it really a part of the game to join someone's island and just unlock all the trophies? I almost wonder if they put that in there for co-op elements. Like, if one person gets a trophy for this, you're going to get it too, to make sure that's not broken. But it seems to be a broken system because it's just unlocking any trophy that the person has gotten ever. So, there you go. Have I played Stranded Deep? I played it a little bit as a demo, I think. I'm not a big fan of these survival crafting games. I think I watched PewDiePie play a little bit of this back in the day, but yeah, these kind of games have a niche. They have people who want to play them, and if you have the game and you're willing to, you can go onto the game and search up a person's profile who has the platinum trophy, join their island, and get a free platinum. Well, quote unquote free, but yeah, there you go. All right, you're gonna be able to experience everything with the new Assassin's Creed Mirage haptic feedback suit coming to the PS5 and PS4 and PC. I think there's also an Xbox version of this coming out as well. It's going to be about $500, and this suit will allow you to feel every bump and hit and stab that happens to Basim. So using the new OWO system, you'll be able to feel precise movements when you take down your targets. But beware, they are also out for you. Don't let your enemies get too close or you'll feel the consequences. You'll be able to experience impacts and parkour, and the suit will be able to replicate a wide array of sensations, including severe abdominal wounds. The officially licensed suit promises some exclusive sensations never felt before. And, of course, this company has been made other haptic feedback suits, so I'm interested to see what new sensations one could feel. Maybe heat, cold, jumping into a haystack and having thistles in your back. I don't know. Like I said, this is going to go for about $500. And if you buy these suits, you'll get a free digital copy of the game for the PS5. So I'm guessing there's also an Xbox Series X version and a PC version of this as well. So that's kind of cool. If you want that, I don't know if I would like to, I don't know if I would like to experience severe wounds, but maybe it'd be kind of cool to see how one of these kind of things work. I don't know, but hey, kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. It seems like the classic Call of Duty matchmaking for Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2, and Modern Warfare 2 and 3 have all been drastically improved on the Xbox. The Xbox 360, I should say. So people are speculating that there was a behind-the-scenes stealth update to multiple games in the Call of Duty into the Call of Duty multiplayer world. A lot of these games have been virtually unplayable in the multiplayer scene. I think back to playing Spec Ops with Greedy Waffles a couple years ago, and whether it was the PC version or the PS3 version, it just really didn't run too great. Very laggy, didn't really work too well, and don't even get me started on the multiplayer. Lots of hackers and people using cheats and stuff like that. It was pretty much a guarantee that you would have one person hacking in a game, at least in every single lobby, which, it just kind of ruins the experience. So there has been a stealth update in the background on these games, specifically Call of Duty 4, Black Ops, and Modern Warfare 2, that have, helped with the multiplayer lag and the overall netcode, along with blocking people who are cheating. I'm sure you'll still find people cheating. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure. Yeah, I think this is good. I think this is a good thing. Now whether Xbox had anything to do with this, because it seems to be only on Xbox 360, is up in the air as well. But there was definitely some sort of background update taking place, because these things don't just fix themselves. I don't know about you, but there is no act of God that would fix the servers on 3 or 4 of these games, just out of nowhere. So thank you to, to the people behind this who did this, but also kind of weird, but nice. It's nice, because Modern Warfare 2 was one of the best first-person shooter gaming experiences I ever had. So and telling people to go back and play this game, it's kind of hard to, simply because the multiplayer was so hacked, and the Spec Ops didn't work. But now it seems like that's kind of been fixed, so that's really nice. I'm happy about that. Okay, let's go ahead and switch over to the final part of the show, which is what's coming soon. Okie dokie. The PS5 Access controller is going to cost about $90, and it's coming December 6th. So yeah, the pre-orders will open on Friday, July 21st on the official PlayStation Direct website and partnering retailers as well. There's a new trailer for the Access controller that kind of goes over all the different things you can do with it, all the different modifications that you can make to it. Sony explains that it's been playing on a controller like this for 5 years now. It's been working with organizations like Able Gamers, Stack Up, and Special Effect to make it a reality. In the blog post, they said, "We truly believe gaming should be accessible to everyone, and the Access controller is our latest step towards living up to that promise." Here's a full breakdown of everything you'll get with the PS5 Access controller. So, of course, you get the Access controller itself, which is going to be 141 by 39 by 191, about 322 grams or 0.7 pounds, which isn't actually too bad, all things considered. 4 expansion ports for standard aux cables, 19 button caps for all the different buttons you could possibly use, 3 stick caps, ball stick cap, standard stick cap, cone stick caps, 23 cap tags, a USB cable, a USB-C Type-C cable, and a quick start guide and a safety guide as well. So yeah, it seems like it's coming with everything you're going to need. Kind of an interesting doodad here. Yeah, the different joints. So there's a big ball one that kind of reminds me of an arcade stick. There's a regular stick that kind of looks more like a regular controller one, and then there's a more short and stubby one that reminds me of like a PS2 or PS4. Actually, it looks like a PS4 controller joystick, and the other one kind of looks more like a PS2 or whatever kind of stick. So they definitely thought of a lot of different things about this. And like I said before, I would like to see someone who needs this controller to review it, rather than me just looking at the controller, because that's really what matters. The person using the controller who needs the controller is really what matters here. So that's coming December 6th for $90. Banishers Ghosts of New Eden have an official release date. It's the 7th of November, so it's out of that October range, thank goodness. And it's going to be about $60 from Don't Nod Entertainment. So, yeah, I mean, I've been kind of excited and interested in this game for quite some time, since they revealed it last year. There will be a collector's edition as well that comes out. Have they said what's in that? The collector's edition is about $180 and will include a 24-centimeter statue of the protagonists, Red and Antia, a 128-page art book, a steelbook, and 2 Banisher signet rings, along with a physical copy of the game. Set in the late 17th century, you'll play as Red and Antia as they protect the living from ghosts. It looks really good. If you haven't checked this out, definitely do. And this is coming November 7th. So if you want to check that out, make sure you snag that up. A spiritual successor to Patapon is coming out sometime. The Kickstarter campaign launches on July 31st. So if you want to help out with that, there is a Kickstarter project for this game called Ratantan. So this is actually coming from the same people who worked on Patapon. So don't think that it's another studio trying to cash in on a defunct franchise. But essentially, Ratantan is coming from the original studio who developed the original one on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4. It's a rhythm RPG franchise being helmed by the Patapon creator Hiroyuki Katoni with the original composer Kamai Adachi, who are also on board. No platforms are currently announced yet, but there will be. It's safe to assume that pretty much the major platforms are going to be available for this game. There's very little shown off in the trailer because obviously the game is in very early stages of development. The original game released on the PSP in 2007 and had a remaster in like 2014. According to VGC, the new game will feature roguelike elements. The 3 main game concepts are over 100 cute characters fighting it out on screen, 4-player simultaneous battles, and more adventure and roguelike elements than Patapon had. That came right from the producer Kazuto Sakuragi. Apparently the Patapon franchise is not dead though. According to Hiroki Kotani, there's a possibility of maybe doing a Patapon sequel in the future, but for this, we really wanted to make our own game in our own style and specific types of gameplay that reflect what we want. After that, if there's a chance to speak to Sony about doing a sequel, we'll go from there. So despite the studio's closure, he believes that Sony's still doing a lot of good work in its domestic region. Even if Japan's studio itself doesn't exist anymore, there's still a lot of creative energy at Sony, and I'm looking forward to the types of projects that are going to be coming from them. So yeah, I mean, I haven't really played Patapon. I have the Patapon remake or remaster, whatever you want to call it. I mean, you know, it's one of those games that I've just never really gotten around to playing, but seems like it's gonna be kind of cool. If you want to check that out, if you go to Kickstarter, you can try and if you want, you can support this on July 31st. Ratantan. Speaking of roguelites, Hellboy: Web of Weird had a very short gameplay trailer. Not enough gameplay to really see anything, but you can kind of get the gist of what's going on. Essentially, it's like a third-person melee-focused game. You have some special abilities here and there. You fight these big statue-like enemies. You knock them into things. The comic book style is very apparent. It definitely looks like you're playing a comic book, which is really cool. Some of this, like, it almost reminds me of like Fury in a way, where you go from arena to arena fighting bosses or maybe enemy hordes. And the in-between is very similar to like Fury or even the original PS1 Hellboy game that has like, you know, it's one of those PS1 games that has, you know, you have like specific camera angles and stuff like that. I don't think it's going to be anything like that game, but I kind of got a hint of that while I was watching. So yeah, Web of Weird is going to tell an original story written by the Hellboy creator Mike Mignola in the format of a roguelike action-adventure brawler. Of course, we got a new trailer that you can watch on Xbox's YouTube channel, or I think PlayStation has it as well. We see Hellboy solving problems in the best way he knows how, and is voiced by the late and great Lance Reddick himself. So this is one of the last performances of Lance Reddick, which is kind of sad, but also kind of cool. So there you go. If you want to check that out, it's like I said, it's on YouTube, and the game comes out. I don't think they have a release date. It just says coming soon. Haiku the Robot, which came out last year, is getting a physical release on the Switch and PlayStation, I believe. There will be a limited run of 4,000 copies of the game via Super Rare Games. So on July 20th, you'll be able to pre-order it, and it will come with new artwork, a reversible cover, and a full color manual, an exclusive sticker and trading cards, along with a map, with a whole entire map of Arcadia, which is pretty cool. When I was playing this game last year, I was kind of wishing that I could get a full map just so I knew where to go, you know, because it is a pretty crazy, detailed Metroidvania. If you haven't checked out Haiku the Robot, it's a pretty fun game. It's kind of Hollow Knight adjacent with its like healing style and gameplay style, but it's also very Metroidvania inspired. So if you want to check that out, I definitely recommend that. And like I said, this is a limited run game, or well, technically a super rare game, so it's a limited run. So there's only 5,000 copies. So if you want a version of this, it looks like it comes with a good amount of stuff. And it's a pretty good game. So if you want to check that out, there you go. A game called Umbra Claw is coming to the Switch. They don't have a release date yet, but they just said coming soon, or deep in development. I'm sorry, deep in development. So essentially, this is coming from Japanese developer Inti Creates, who are known for Mega Man Zero and Azure Striker Gunvolt. They announced a new 2D action side-scrolling game called Umbra Claw. It's currently deep in development and is the newest game from the Blaster Master Zero director Satoru Nishizawa. You'll take control of a cat who is trapped in the afterlife and must break the cycle of death and rebirth. Umbra Claw looks pretty good. The graphic style is kind of like it's kind of like, I mean, it looks very like stained glassy almost in a way, but also looks very drawn, you know. And it looks like what you do is you like inhabit the spirit of like a different animal, like a wolf, human, stuff like that, to use their powers to help yourself fight through the different levels. So yeah, I mean, it looks pretty cool. I definitely will keep this. I'll definitely keep an eye on this as time goes on. If you want to check out the trailer, it's on NET Creates YouTube channel, and the game is called Umbra Claw. There you go. Stumble Guys is officially coming to Xbox as a timed console exclusive. There's no official release date yet, but it has been confirmed that Stumble Guys will officially be appearing on a console coming soon. I know it's already available on PC and phones. What I did not know is that there's a Hot Wheels freaking thing in there. Like, this actually has licensed stuff in there. That's kind of crazy. So what started out as a Fall Guys ripoff has actually turned into something of its own. Stumble Guys is pretty much Fall Guys where you run, stumble, and fall against up to 32 players in an attempt to take the crown. The Xbox version will include cross-platform progression, meaning you can continue where you left off on mobile or PC, and all versions of the game will be free to download. If you want to check that out, Stumble Guys is coming to Xbox sometime soon, probably in the near future. Seems like it's going to be an interesting time if you haven't played that, and if you're annoyed with Fall Guys like me. Marquee or Marquette is coming to Xbox officially. This game launched on PlayStation Plus last year or 2 years ago. It's a first-person puzzle game where you solve recursive puzzles that take you to a world where every building, plant, and object are simultaneously tiny and staggeringly huge. Marquette or Marquee makes it possible by twisting the world into itself recursively in an MC Escher-esque fashion. You'll explore the scale of everyday problems in a modern-day love story where sometimes the smallest of issues can be insurmountable obstacles. So what I played with this game, it was pretty cool. It was pretty in depth, so it's kind of a crazy in depth puzzle game. But if you like puzzle games that are first person, kind of like Talos Principle, you might want to check this out. And that comes on July 19th, to be exact. And finally for today, here are some games coming to PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium for July 2023. These will be available on Tuesday, July 18th, so that's soon. In the extra tier, we have It Takes Two, Sniper Elite 5, SnowRunner, World War Z, The Ascent, Undertale, SpongeBob SquarePants, Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, Melty Blood, Type Lumina, Dismantle, Circus Electrique, Dynasty Warriors 9, Samurai Warriors 5, My Little Pony, A Maritime Bay Adventure, Fast and Furious Spy Racers, Rise of Shifter, and Monster Jam Steel Titans. In the premium tier, you have Gravity Crash Portable, PSP, Twisted Metal 1 and 2 for the PS1. So we're actually seeing some Twisted Metal coming around. I wish that they would have had all the Twisted Metal games because Twisted Metal Black is like the best that the series has to offer. But this is fine, you know. This is good, you know. I love seeing these PS1 games and stuff get ported over, or well, not ported, but you know we can play them. So pretty stacked month, I guess, in a lot of ways. It Takes Two, Sniper Elite 5, World War Z, Undertale. Some pretty good stuff in here. So if you want to check that out, they'll be all these games will be available to download or play on July 18th. All right, folks. That about wraps it up for me. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Ferret 64 podcast. Let's go ahead and finish this off with everyone's favorite section. Guess that song. Just got to tell me the song name and the game that it came from, or close enough, and I'll give you a super reaction in the Discord or a heart in the comments below. Let's listen to what today's song is right now. Okay, if you know that song, let me know, and maybe you'll win today or this week. All right, folks, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ferret 64 podcast. I am, of course, YemmytheFerret, at YemmytheFerret on all different platforms, including YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, etc. I also have the YemmytheFerret VODs channel, where I upload VODs of past Twitch streams, and also upload shorts, YouTube shorts there as well. If you want to check me out on Twitch, I stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Right now we're playing Star Wars Squadrons. Should get that done this week, and then we'll spin the wheel to see what game we play next in the PlayStation Plus July Plus contest, or whatever I'm calling it. And yeah, if you want to listen to the other podcasts I do, Fubar Ferret is one of those. I recently uploaded a new episode of that, if you want to check that out. And also Film Freaks with a Z at the end. We talked about Parasite with Player2P2, friend of the channel. So if you want to listen to that, that's available on all different platforms for podcasts. If you're listening to this on YouTube, appreciate you. And any other platform as well, I appreciate you as well. I'm YemmytheFerret, and I am out of here. Have a good rest of your week. I'll talk at you next week. Bye-bye. The Ferret 64 podcast is owned and edited by YemmytheFerret. The song Nightshade, used in the intro and outro, is owned by Adhesive Wombat. Small sound clips during the podcast were made by YemmytheFerret. News sources include NintendoLife.com, PushSquare.com, and PureXbox.com. All opinions video game related are my own. Thank you for listening.